Welcome to the Globetrottin ADs. This podcast is for you, athletic directors, activity coordinators, coaches, and program associates based in international schools around the world. The Globetrottin ADs is proudly hosted by Nick DeForest from the American International School Vienna and Matt Fleming from the American International School of Budapest. Here they are now, Nick and Matt and the Globetrottin ADs.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Globetrottin ADs. A very special one we're celebrating today, as we have now reached our 100th episode of the Globetrottin ADs. We're now in triple digits. Very exciting. So we got some fun stuff we're going to do today. We're going to recap some of our favorite memories over the last 4 years, and reflect back about what's happened and what's going forward. And we're coming to you from a very nice location here in sunny Malta. We're attending the CISA conference, the annual CISA conference. It's a great atmosphere, beautiful location, great hotel, and of course good people, good colleagues who we can share with and do some PD with. So we're very happy to have this episode underway finally. Yeah. And what do you think, Nick?
Yeah, well, I'm just really happy for all the listeners that have ultimately paid for our trip to Malta. You know, all these millions of downloads over years that have paid for us to fly to Malta.
Who knew it could be so lucrative?
We only wish. But if you were one of the 10 people that have listened to every episode, you may find this very, very fun as we go through some of our favorites, some stats. All kidding aside, it's been great, and 100 seems like a lot.
Yeah.
You know, about every 2 weeks we were trying to do it, so
A couple a month.
Yeah.
During the school year, and 1 or 2 in the summer, maybe. Yeah. I can't remember. I have to look back. Yeah. But it's been good. We've been consistent with it, and it's been something different. Never boring, that's for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting to go through all the different things. You know, over 100 episodes, right? So we'll have some stats of most appearances, different locations, some of the things that we've done, maybe a bit proud of, or just glad to be a part of the community.
Yeah, and looking back, like how fast time flies, right? How much we've gone through in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
4 years we've been doing this now, just over 4 years, and a lot's changed. A lot of people have come and gone, but the mission remains the same.
Connecting and sharing resources.
Meeting new people, putting people in touch with good stuff, and so far so good. We'll just keep it rolling.
Yeah, I think maybe right away we'll give a shout out to Cookery. That's not to forget, sponsor since the beginning. Always get us some good gear and some great support. So thanks to Marcus. We'll fire that ad in here at some point, and later on you definitely should listen to the end, because we have a giveaway, to explain to some lucky listener out there, a couple free courses, $300 value each one. So listen to the end. Probably not going to be the longest episode, and I guess that people could fast forward, but don't do that.
Nah,
but
you want to listen in.
Yeah, good. All right, well, let's start, Matt. What do you want to start with?
Well, one of the things we want to do is talk about some of our favorite episodes over the years. That's something I get asked occasionally.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to rack my brain now that we've done so many and met so many people. So I really have to go back and look at the list of episodes and see who we've done. So we'll get into that in just a sec.
Yeah.
So with looking back on it, it's amazing how many different types of people we've talked to, or different connections there are out there for related to what our jobs are and working as ADs and activity coordinators in school. So that's been really interesting, all the different topics that we've had specialists on.
You're right.
Who are experts in these areas or have something cool they're doing in the different areas we work with. So that's been good, whether it's coaches education or conferences that are coming up, or just sharing these new ideas. It's been a great mix.
Yeah, I put a little bit of a list of different, organizations that we've highlighted.
Yeah.
Just to kind of rip through them, because there's been a lot, but, ICMIC, the Canadian IAAA, the NIAAA, of course, IAAC, 3D coaching, TOC culture consulting, World Academy of Sport, working with parents in sport, on and on. All these different companies are out there, or organizations that are doing great stuff that we want to share. So
Yeah.
keep that going. Yeah, and guests with those people and those organizations are just, new or old friends. We've had guests come in and join us from 39 different countries.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's been a challenge, I would say, at times, right? To find a time where we can meet, and then maybe someone in the States can meet at the same time someone in China.
Yeah. Luckily, most of the time it's been good for us because we're in the same time zone. Right. And most of the time we're able to do it like at, let's say, 7 o'clock in the evening. I think that's the most common time, right. So that's worked out well for us. But yeah, sometimes we've had to juggle it when we've had to do them in the morning, or sometimes during the day I have to sneak away from the office for a little bit and squeeze it in. But it's all good stuff and all worth doing.
Well, that was at the beginning. It was a lot easier, right? We were all home.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about those first 2 years more. I think most of our favorites and highlights come from those times. But that was just, be online whenever, because you're just
had a lot more flexibility in time.
Yeah. In the green basement for me.
Yeah.
Which isn't green anymore, or not all green anyway. Yeah. So, what's one of your favorite episodes?
Well, we were just talking about gathering our list, and there's, like I said earlier, there's so many to look through, but I was looking at the collection of podcasts from basically our first year of 2021, because we started the first podcast, and the first couple was right before the pandemic hit in like February, March of 2020. So I was looking back at everything we did that whole time after the pandemic and the shutdown started hitting, like 20 through 21. That's actually my favorite episode. So it's more of a time. That was my favorite time, because I felt like this is a great way for us to stay connected to ourselves, and also to people out there doing the same jobs as we do in other schools, and with people in our associations and other parts of the world, just like learning what everybody's situation was and how they were coping and dealing with running athletic programs, and the fact that we weren't in person, people weren't in school. So it was crazy times, but I look back on that time, not necessarily a favorite episode, but I think it was my favorite time in the fact that we were really providing a good service for people, plus the conferences we did, the online conferences. So it was a good time.
Well, when you look
rewarding,
you look at our top episodes, not favorites per se, but the most amount of listens. I think with no surprise, they all come from the first 2 seasons, right? When everybody was at home. Podcasting was new. This community was new. So really, our first episode, which was profiles from a lot of you out there, just saying who you are and where you're from, was the most listened. And then Yone, our second episode, was then number 2. And then it goes to some in season 2 with virtual competitions.
Yeah.
And then Bruce Whitehead and Dan Schuster, they're from the NIAAA NFHS. Those are the then top 5 episodes, which was pretty cool. And virtual, let me just stay on that one. That was one of my favorite episodes, because it was such a buzz thing, right? That's where we're all staying connected and wanted stuff for our students. So I think a lot of people out there really wanted to tune in and hear about it. So that was a timely episode, right? And I think a lot of my favorites as we go through are these timely ones. It's not just us talking about whatever topic, which is great, but something that was really important at that time.
Yeah, and I think it was great that we could be a megaphone of sorts for people to spread those ideas. I'm sure there were people who heard about those virtual competitions and were able to develop something in their own schools, and hopefully that's one thing we were able to provide too, is like just sharing that idea so somebody could take that and run with it and do something positive that kids would benefit from during that time.
All right, also super timely was season 3. I don't know how it didn't break into the top 5, but the episode at 17 in season 3 was all about the war in Ukraine, right? We had Rick and Kirby, who are both displaced from their homes. That was like investigative reporting almost.
Yeah, and it was just like hearing about their stories of how things were going down and happening, and like it's very scary.
Yeah.
But real, and they were going through that. So for them to share with us those experiences, especially Rick with hearing the bombs going off in Kiev and getting out of the country the way he did, just unbelievable that he had to go through that. Just mind-boggling that somebody you've seen so many times and meetings and gone to tournaments, or he's been to your school for tournaments, and you never think that you would never see him in Kiev again, right? But then because of the outbreak of the war, he had to get out of there. So just life is funny that way, I guess.
Yeah, and Rick's in.
Rick's here now at the CISA conference. So that's the positive is that PD keeps people coming back. You can reconnect again. It's one positive of it, and so it was great. It was great to see him back here. And by the way, in case you don't know, Rick's in Norway now. Yeah, working at the school international Stavanger. So.
Yeah. All right, give us one. Give us another one, Matt. One of your favorites.
Yeah, so then I think the last piece I would add as my favorites was, of course, the time we spent with Greg Dale.
Yeah.
Really always enjoyed having him being a part of our podcast and having him being so open with us and helpful, and really felt like what we were doing, working with somebody who's that professional at that level of working at Duke University and having a connection like that really made me feel like, damn, we're onto something good here. Yeah. Because it was just a great connection, a great resource for us. So really, really enjoyed the time, and lucky that we got to do that because, as we know, unfortunately, he passed away not too long ago. And so we were lucky that we got that time with him while we did.
Yeah, and not just on the pod, but in the student conference and online conference. So yeah, he was great. He was great.
Too bad we didn't get to be in person though.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess he would be one of the famous guests we'd have. So we had some very fortunate, as you said, Matt, to have him and obviously Nathan Whitaker. Has been on a few times and finally got to meet in person. John O'Sullivan a couple times, and then it was just some of these people that you wouldn't assume would be so cool and so nice and so
and
just giving a good time.
You meet the people on the circuit. They're kind of on that circuit of motivational speaking or coaching development and coach education programs. Like, it's a whole other world out there, really. But we're lucky we've been able to tap into that too.
Yeah, it was cool. All right, one more for me. I think was the live season final of season 2. That was season 2, episode 22, and we had, I don't know if you remember, we had 7 guests on, and we recorded live on YouTube as well, like a StreamYard. So it was video and audio. It was the only one we ever did like that.
Right.
And we had people popping in. So not everyone was on at one time, right? There was someone on with us, and then we kind of kicked them from the stream and let someone else in from the waiting room and went back and forth. There was seven different guests. So that was a fun episode to organize.
Yeah.
And it was pretty interesting. We had Craig join from a camping trip, for example, and that was the first time Andy was on, or Harrison.
Right.
So anyway, that was a great one. That sticks out to me because of the logistics went above and beyond the normal podcast organizing logistics with that one. So that was a bit special and a bit cool. And the only time we had to really worry about our hair, or you did maybe.
Yeah, so there is a video record of us out there.
Yeah.
Even though we always do just audio.
Yeah, I like people ask all the time, where can I get the video or this or that, and I like it. Traditional.
Yeah. It's not a YouTube thing. Yeah. Don't have to worry about that.
We started before the pandemic, when it was just before we even knew what Zoom was, right? We did everything over the telephone, right? Plugged in the telephone, my mobile phone into the recorder.
Through a WhatsApp call.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
Yeah.
Okay, so next on the list we have most appearances.
Yeah.
And I was surprised at this number. Like, I had no idea. Dave Horner.
Yep.
13 times he's been on this show.
Dave, I know you're listening, and we need to find some award for you. 13.
He's always available.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of unemployed right now, Dave. So maybe that was yeah, always that time.
You think you'd be calling in more?
No, that was and that a lot of people were on different times, or like in the profile, or we had a series about the 9-10 courses. So some people that were there, and if you're at the conference, and obviously Dave, anytime we did a conference recap, one of the online conferences, Dave and Chris were a part of the organization, so they were always on for that. Chris was number 2 with 9.
Okay.
So, and then plenty of you great people were on 3, 2 times, a couple 4.
Yeah.
That was great.
And we love having repeat guests anyway, so it's all good. Yeah. So, not to say it won't happen again. The Horn will be on for a 14th time. We've also been lucky and had some cool opportunities to do, like we are now, some live and in-person ones, not just on a Zoom call like we normally do.
Right.
So here's a list of some of the places we've done this in person. We've done a live recording in Vienna, in just outside Washington, D.C. at the NIAAA conference. That's where the first one happened. Vilnius, Lithuania, Orlando, Florida, Dusseldorf, Germany, Denver. We did a live season 2 wrap up there. That was great. In the Airbnb.
Yeah.
Of course, now here we are in Malta. We've done it from Bucharest, also in Hungary, in Seafolk, down there by Lake Balaton, and also in St. Gilgen, Austria, at the DVAC meeting. So, just like we live up to our name, so do our, as being the Globetrottin ADs, so do our locations. So that's pretty cool. We've been able to do these at a lot of different places throughout the world, in person, live together.
Right. And I just realized a lot of them have around water. You know, like we're in the hotel room right now, overlooking the sea.
It's the Mediterranean.
The pool. We wanted to do it outside, just a bit too windy today, but some of those were really right waterside, right?
Always great, great inspirational places to be.
Yeah. This is the listener locations, Matt, really, surprised me. I knew about it before, but the most listeners are in the U.S. 30% of the listeners are in the U.S. And maybe that has to do with some of the people that are listening are the only person listening in their country.
Yep.
So, we've got some listens from Malta, but clearly that's not going to make up a high percent.
Right.
But it's great, 30% from the U.S. So everybody who is in the U.S. right now, that's thank you. That's great.
And also from 140 different countries, which is amazing.
Right. Yeah, at least one listen in 140 countries. Pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I think one of my other favorites, go back up, was we had a few with students. One was a student conference. After the student conference, we had some students on with us. But then in season 3, episode 7, it was the end of the fall season where we were just getting back. Like, are we going to play? Who's playing? Not everybody's playing. So we called it an uncertain season. And I did some recordings with kids on a train coming back from a tournament in Frankfurt. And my daughter was on as well after her first experience. So that was cool. I think hard to organize sometimes with the students, but those were good ones. We probably should do some more.
I was just thinking about that. We should probably do a couple more with kids because, now that they're all back into it, there's a lot of topics. Like yesterday we taught 726 for the NIAAA student leadership, and there's so much going on out there. It'd be great to interview a group of kids about how their leadership programs are going, or what's something they're doing in their school for sports, the sport program and leadership. So, well, that's something we'll have to put on the list for future episodes.
Yep. Yeah, master's programs we've talked about, shared some resources there. Search Associates, of course. Brian was on a couple really highly popular episodes, which is great. We had that 9-10 series where we had all the authors on from each 9-10.
Yep.
So that was pretty good.
And ICMEC.
Yeah.
The International Center for Missing and
Exploited Children.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was also back in the beginning.
Yeah.
Working with them. So a little two-parter.
Yeah, we should probably get back in that realm as well. Lori, who was there, we did a lot of work with, but she moved on. We should probably get back into that. There's just so many things. I don't mean it's in a bad way, but there's just so many things to get into or
It's
talk
hard to
about
keep
or
up.
share. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And we were talking about earlier, right? We had that time back in the day, right?
Yeah.
We had time to
Yeah.
think about and organize, get in touch with these people, and schedule these different episodes. But it's just now that we're full back on the last couple of years with the AD job, it's getting harder and harder to make time and really dedicate time and thought to like we used to be able to do.
Absolutely.
We just can't do right these days.
Yeah, we would like plan out all sorts of
Yeah.
things and months in advance and time, and now it's just a bit more sporadic or a bit spontaneous,
Yeah.
which is also good. But yeah, there are a lot of things out there, and I think when talking to people, ADs are they're getting pushed to the limits, right? With not much help. With a lot of schools, we had an AD in a school in CISA just went home, right? He said, "I'm not even hanging out till the end of the year. This is unrealistic," and he left. So I think it's tough where everyone's busy, and there's these extra things like going to a conference. It's extra.
Or jumping in and having a coach when you weren't expecting to. That's happened too, and all kinds of reasons why our time just gets gobbled up so quickly.
Yeah, and I don't really see on the school side of more staffing or more support. But they want to do more competitions, maybe more teams, more kids are interested, but then there's no more support.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's a trend that needs to be reversed pretty soon. But all we can do is, I think, spread the word. And I think with those surveys, the coach survey, the AD survey, people just keep sharing that message, because that's some data from people. If you say you're overworked, they're just saying, no, just keep at it. But if you can say, look, ADs around the world and coaches are underpaid, feeling the pressure, don't know if they can do it again.
What can be done about it? It's a harder one to answer, because let's say you did get some more resources going to help. Well, eventually that's just going to make things more busy as well, right? Yeah. So it's almost a catch-22 in a way.
Well, student leadership 726 we did yesterday. Some great things. I have a student athletic council, but absolutely do not do all the things I wish we could do. Don't have enough students. Don't accomplish as much. It's just putting the time into it, right? And finding the people, and it's hard. So we heard about some great programs at other schools and some guys that are really passionate, and that's great. I think you got to find and see what you really need, and it's just hard. It's hard to keep up and keep everything, and what kids want it. It's great for kids. It's tough to say no when it's something great for kids, right? Yep.
All right.
Not that it's a downer 100 episode, but we didn't want to get into a bit of a downer mood there. But
no, it's just
as we reflect on
it's just the reality of the gig, the job. And, I think probably maybe a little underappreciated or misunderstood sometimes in our school locations. But I think what's nice about coming to the CISA conference here and seeing your colleagues and people hang out with the people who are in the same jobs as ADs and activity coordinators, like, then you feel appreciated, of course, because everybody can share ideas and share things they're going through, and maybe you can offer some support and some ideas, which is always great. To help make things a little smoother.
Yeah, and it's just thinking about us in the podcast. It still is fun, right? People ask me all the time, so how's it going? Is it still, I'm like, it's still fun. We still want to talk about our jobs. That's what we like to do, and things like that. And we'll keep doing it until it's fun, because it's not a job. We're not getting paid. No. And even if we were, if it wasn't fun, money shouldn't be the motivating factor of anything. But
now we can do these from Malta, looking out over the beautiful Mediterranean Sea right now. Yeah.
A couple sailboats. Yeah, no, it's been great, and honestly, we don't get tons of emails or calls, but every episode, some people write, "Hey, great episode," or when you see people in person like this, some people came up and said, "Oh, I really liked that episode on this," or thanks for that. So it's nice. It's out there. It's heard, and maybe if you don't listen to every episode, where it is, and you come back. catch up when you have time, listen to a couple.
Yeah.
I definitely don't look into the stats of the episodes. I really don't care too
No.
much, of who's watching. I went into all those stats for this episode so I could put some lists together and things like that. But it really doesn't matter. It's out there. It's there for people, and we remain a constant in the lives of international school athletic directors.
That's right. And we're going to keep on churning along.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll hit another 100. Maybe we'll get to 200.
Kukri are a global multi-sport clothing brand specializing in providing the world's most prestigious schools with bespoke made and designed team uniforms for students of all standards and abilities. If you are frustrated by inconsistent colors, branding, costs, and sizing across your school's uniforms, then it's time to discuss an offering where every sport is available from softball to soccer for male and female athletes at rates to suit your budget. To find out how Kukri could elevate the apparel of your student athletes to a professional level, email the team at contact@kukrisports.com. A dedicated sales manager will offer you a quote today. Mention this ad and receive a special offer on your coach or PE staff order.
But as you mentioned in the beginning, Nick, in celebration of the 100th, you said you had some special announcements about this occasion.
Yeah.
What would you like to share?
Well, we did an author series. Hopefully, if some people out there, we love sharing resources. JP Nurbin was on a few episodes ago, and he has courses and books, of course. That's why he was on. But we were talking about how many episodes we did, and he said, hey, I have something great I would love to share with your listeners. You could offer it up. So JP Nurbin has offered some courses. They're online courses, levels 1 to 3 of his transformational, coaching and cultural certification. They're $300 each, and we have 2 of them to give away. So that's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Better than a hat or a free tee.
Yeah, right.
Or a keychain. If you've met me at a conference recently, I have
or a
Globetrottin
cooler.
keychains. Yeah, we had koozers.
Beer koozie.
So yeah, this is great, and it can be for anybody. If you're an AD listening and you want it, and you could then give it to a coach that really needs it, or you want to take it. But the courses just came out last year. Lots of schools and coaches around the world are taking them. JP's super excited about them, and we have 2 to give away. So if you hear this episode and you're interested in one of these free $300 courses, then just send me a message. The first 2 messages I get, whether it's on email, the Globetrottin, my AIS email, if it's on WhatsApp, if it's on Twitter, Facebook, wherever, we'll get the time. The first 2 people that write and say, hey, I'd love one of those courses,
all right,
it's yours. And then I'll send you the details.
And everything comes with a timestamp, so you'll be able to quickly and easily figure out who those lucky people are.
Totally. And if it's, Dave Horner, then so be it. But I don't know. Time zone. I put them out on Monday mornings always, right? So I think it just depends. People in the States are asleep already, or still, right? But then people in Asia, it's the afternoon.
Or who listens first.
Yeah.
That's who it is.
Yeah. Or who's interested, because it is time, right?
Yeah.
So, the courses are great. But if you want one of them, you really should use it. So keep that in mind.
Yep.
But yeah, that's a little bonus for the 100th episode. And thank JP for that.
All right. Well, there we are. 100 in the can.
Short. We can't talk about ourselves too much longer. Got to get some other people back in. We have a panel discussion that we're going to record. That'll be episode 101. We'll record that from Malta in about an hour. And then we're looking forward to getting some other people on. If it's Dave Horner or Chris Mott, also, so be it. But we'll try to give them a bit of a break.
Yeah. We're long-winded anyway. All right, folks. Well, thank you for joining us. We're going to head back out here shortly to the sunny shores of Malta. We have a boat ride scheduled for later today to take a little tour.
We do.
And I just got a text from Jim. He's went to the grocery store and got some beverages for the little boat ride. So very much looking forward to that. Wish you could join us here for this ride in Malta, but We'll see you next time. Who knows where our next location will be for a future episode? We'll have to think about that one. Keep you guys updated.
All right. Thanks for listening, especially if you stuck around all the way to the end of this. And if you've listened to any episodes of the last 99, we appreciate it. And hope to have you listen for the next 100.
Yep. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time with Globetrottin ADs.
Until next week, this has been another episode of the Globetrottin ADs.